Hi, my name is Grace Shalom Hopkins and welcome to another episode of Spin Weekly. Today we are learning how to spin Rolags. I have already made a how to spin Rolags video. It is one of my most viewed at this moment, and I have links to that down below. It was made way back in ye olden times prior to the before bean. That word better in my head. Anyway, it was a long time ago and it does not have a voiceover. So I thought it was high time while I'm doing these beginner spinner series, and I just made a how to make, roll, swirl, Rolags video. It would be a good time to do a how to spin Rolags video. So I have that and I will go into more detail in the voiceover. But I did want to say that there are a couple of different ways that you can do this that I'm going to be split testing and give you the heads up that I did a drafted, like a pre-drafted, a not pre-drafted, and I touched on breaking them, which is another kind of prep that didn't really work with the style of Rolag that I made because they're the color is uniform across, but if it was like a gradient, that would be useful perhaps. So I touch on all those things, I spin them, it's magical, you learn how to spin them, but I will be doing a part 2 of this video. So you see up there, it's part 1. Part 2 is a swatch of these. So I'm gonna actually knit swatches. Finally, you guys have been hounding me since I was like 19 years old to do swatches, and I'm all like, I don't know how to do swatches, cannot knit, counting is the devil. Can suck it up for the people and do a swatch. So I'll practice my stitches. So I'm gonna do swatches in part 2. So if you're looking for that, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, so that way you can be notified when that happens. Maybe if the YouTube algorithm gods like favor the swatches, who knows? It's the best shot. You might want to check back manually. Anyhow, now that I've said all of those things, we will jump into the voiceover and you can actually learn a thing. You may recognize these beautiful little Rolags from our how to use a blending board video. They're the same guys. So let's talk about the first method. This is the pre-draft method. Again, if you watch the how to use a blending board method, you'll know that these little Rolags are particularly wimpy. They're very skinny. So the pre-drafting that I am doing looks very thin. It's because I was starting with malnourished Rolags. You will probably have a lot thicker of a piece. So if this thinness scares you, it's because of the Rolag. So that's all you do to pre-draft a Rolag. If you just pull from the top gently and aim for one continuous strand, it's no different from pre-drafting a comb top or a roving. Another method is the breaking method. So if you have Rolags that are divided into colors, you can just pop those suckers open and arrange the colors in a new pattern. It's not going to be perfect because the colors are blended on the board, but similar to breaking a bat into pieces, this is a good way to kind of mess with the colors you've been given. As far as spinning the Rolag, Rolag is a woolen prep, so that means you're creating a tube of fiber going into the drafting zone. So you're catching air in the tube. So you can see that happening on the screen, and when you spin it, it's really obvious kind of how the fiber is sort of curling around itself. So woolen, if you want to do some more research, has quite a few different styles that it likes to be spun in, but usually some form of a longer draw. So a pinch pull is not necessarily ideal, but it's totally, the rules are there to be broken and follow the fiber. But you can see how I'm just letting the fiber slide through those pinching fingers at front rather than pulling it out with it. I'm kind of pulling it backwards with my backhand and then guiding it with my front hand. So this is not a long draw, nor is it a pinch pull. It's kind of a modification of both. So it's a good example of how I'm listening to the fiber and letting it dictate how it wants to be spun. So you can see as we're going kind of the difference between the pre-drafted and the not pre-drafted. So not pre-drafted Rolags, you're going to have to do more on the job drafting it, if you will, and not quite as much. I feel like it's a bit mindless just allowing it to slide through your fingers when you pre-draft. So again, keep that in mind for how you like to spin and the type of yarn you want to spin, because pre-drafted generally results in a thinner yarn that's more consistent and smooth. So in the future, I will be doing swatches for these guys. So here, now we're on to the pre-drafted. I guess I was confused. We're on to the pre-drafted now. So like I said, it's going to be a thinner, smoother spin. You can see how I'm doing less work at the drafting zone than I was doing previously. What I was saying before I got confused there was I'm going to be doing swatches for these different techniques, so that way you can see the difference between the two. That will be in the How to Spin Rolags Part 2 video. So keep an eye out for that. As for plying, it's really up to you. You can ply Rolags in any different method. Once it's in the single form, you know, it's no longer really a Rolag and you can apply any different technique you want. Alright, so I hope you found that helpful. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions for future videos, leave them in the comment section down below. And if you have any desire to see the music only version of this, it doesn't have an intro or an outro, it's just vibes. It's not ASMR because like I listen to podcasts and my baby burps in the background, so you wouldn't like that. But it is music over the top. So if you like that idea, I have that for Patreon. So if you're a Patreon person, you're already good. You've probably already seen it. But if you want to be a Patreon person and get access to that and also support the show, you can go to the links down below. If you liked it, hit the like button. We already talked about subscribing earlier, but you can still subscribe if you've forgotten about it. So all of these videos are brought to you by my Patreon people. You guys pay my groceries, literally, especially right now. So if you found this helpful, hop onto Patreon. And for those of you who are already patrons, I see you and I appreciate you. And thanks for the frozen corn. My baby's really liking frozen corn right now. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!